This is Khalib, and I first talked to Khalib when I stumbled upon him within the tent sitting here, and he's a pretty interesting character. I think he knows his stuff about a lot of things here, and so I'm just looking to re-interview him because it was my fault that the camera went down. So there's some things that I already know about Khalib, and he's Egyptian, part Egyptian.
My father, yes.
Yeah, and that you were comparing what was going on with America with what was happening
in Tahrir Square.
Yeah.
Last February.
Yeah, and you were saying that it was like in Egypt it was more of a dictatorship, but
yeah,
here
30 years.
Yeah, and then here is more of an economic kind of.
Yeah, well, I mean both. The poverty there is more grinding for 90%. You know, there's the small middle class. Here, it's, you know, you see a deterioration how things are going. I mean, real wages have been slipping for 30 years. So you see everything on a slippery slope, and this sort of regression year after year after year. And, you know, the disparity between income just grows and grows and grows. And that's happening in most of the world. Not everywhere, you know, but definitely in the United States.
Mm-hmm. Do you see the revolution happening here like it did in Egypt?
Not to the same extent, and I'd be quick to caution about Egypt being a revolution because the top was removed, Mubarak was moved, and then everyone else took another seat. So it's like musical chairs. One chair was taken out. I mean, the grinding poverty is still taking place. I mean, there's still a lot to be done to improve people's lives.
There were people killed there a couple weeks ago, weren't there? They just had another clash.
There was a march against the army, and 24 people were killed.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, you could kind of compare what's going on to Egypt with America because you're taking an interest in Egypt also, because that is where your ancestors are from.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the old saying, think globally, act locally. You know, I live in the old Pueblo.
Yeah.
You know, I don't live overseas.
Yeah.
So this is my venue.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here.
Well, it's like me being part Irish. Whenever stuff happens in Ireland, I always take an interest, although my ancestors have been here since, you know, time immemorial, you know, some of them, as far as we can tell. Anyway, this is the protest. So what brings you down here? What's your main concern? What, you know, I mean, on what's happening in America today?
Well, it's not me. I mean, I'm doing okay, although my wages have stagnated. I'm a school teacher, and I haven't had any increase in pay, and my health benefits have slipped a little bit. So that's what I was saying before about sort of the slippery slope. Things get a little bit worse each year. You almost don't notice it in some cases, but I mean, I think I'm kind of lucky because I haven't lost my job. I've been able to, you know, stay employed during the past 3 years. But for a lot of people, I mean, just the high unemployment rate, and then those who are working, maybe they're underemployed, maybe they're working too many hours, maybe their wages have been reduced. So I mean, it's just something has to give, and that's the critical mass here.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm looking at it. I mean, we both talked about, all right, what's
I have an announcement about
what's the biggest thing that we can, you know, look at changing or pinpointing that we can do as a people, and I think that what we agreed upon would be corporate personhood.
Yeah, I mean, whether that would take the form as a constitutional amendment or whether that would take another form with our national legislative branch, I'm not sure, but that would be definitely a step in the right direction. And a Tobin tax on the highest income earners, and those are just two concrete things.
Well, why don't you kind of tell people what corporate personhood is? I mean, as you know it as.
It's just corporations being able to assume personhood. It's just they're able to act as people, and usually takes the form of campaign donations directly towards members of the legislative branch, Congress, and just controlling the purse strings.
And then they're allowed to rob from us because, you know, they're not accountable.
Mm-hmm.
That's why nobody has gotten into any trouble over taking all those billions and billions and trillions of dollars,
right,
and throwing it to whoever without any accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I mean, that's how I look at it. And, you know, corporations are going to have to take responsibility for what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody, you know, you can't just rob and steal like that and just think, you know, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because then it makes it okay for all of us. Because
right. Definitely not living up to the social contract, you know, and evading responsibility, whether it's for worker safety, whether it's for pay, whether it's for environmental safety, what have you. These externalities are borne on the public because they don't assume responsibility for their actions.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of work to do. I hope this succeeds in at least raising awareness, if not changing things. I mean, just what do you think ought to happen in the future? I'll end it with that. What do you feel ought? What do you feel ought to happen for the American people?
A more genuine democracy, and where people actually have a say with what their representatives do, and they're not bought and sold. I mean, that would go a long way. And when it's just so apparent, when your representative or your governor or even the president is completely compromised by corporate America, everybody, I mean, that just leaves you thinking, what can you do? What can you accomplish if those who are in power are not representing the will of the people?
All right, man. Hey, it was nice meeting you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for the time.